So it's nice to be here tonight. I am in a good mood, although I'll tell you right here at the beginning, I am a little tired. I have been stalking a Kenyan woman. They're runners. That would be... That's the first joke, people, right there. I'm a joke writer. I have thousands, but I'm coming out with Kenyan stalker right out of the gate. Which is appropriate. I actually run a business for stalkers. I do. I started this. What I do is I take stalkers and I match them up with narcissists. And I call it Twitter. That's what Twitter is, right? Completelymatch.com for stalkers and narcissists. They even call it following somebody. It's like, hey, you want to follow me? Yeah, I do. This is very convenient. I like this. I love Twitter, but I love technology. I think technology just made our lives better. It's the best time to be alive. There's no reason to be bored anymore. If you get bored, you just go to Google. All right? Google, it's like, makes you a Roman emperor. Google will summon anything you want. You just sit there one day at work, and you're like, I'm slightly bored, Google. Find me something. I'd like to see a flamingo. Wearing a beret, attacked by a herd of beavers. Find it for me, Google. And Google does. It's amazing, you know? But Google knows it's amazing. It does. It's gotten cocky over the years. I don't know if you remember this when Google first came out. If you mistyped something into the search engine, it would come on and say, no search results found. And you had to retype your question. Now, Google just goes and finds what it knows you wanted and comes on with this condescending little, or did you mean? Don't talk to me that way, Google. I know you're smarter than I am, but maybe I wanted to search for mermaids. I was interested in the history of the hamburger. Go do it, Google. Our technology has moved faster than us. It's starting to lose patience with us. I keep an open joke file in Microsoft Word, just fragments and ideas. It's just all sorts of mistakes. I never go back and fix it. The file's gotten huge. And one day I actually got this error message from Microsoft Word. It's a real error message you can get. It came on and said, there's so many spelling and punctuation errors in this file, we will no longer check it. That's real. I'm like, really? I found the limits of my computer program? You can do 1 billion calculations a second. How many spelling errors do I have in there? I think I just irritated the computer. It was just like, no, I'm not going to do it anymore. This guy's an idiot. You don't spell narcissist with 7 S's. I love technology. I don't even watch TV anymore. If I get bored, I just go to Wikipedia. Do you ever do that for fun? Just cruise around and find weird things on Wikipedia? Because Wikipedia has no editor. It will collect anything. Absolutely anything. It's like the thrift store of information. You know that thrift store experience where you walk in, you're just looking around, and you just can't believe the things you actually see? It's like, is that a toaster with a squirrel paw handle? I think I want that. It's pretty cool. That's Wikipedia. It's like Goodwill. It'll collect anything. I learned this on Wikipedia. Okay, it's an absolutely trivial piece of information. It does not matter to anybody. But as soon as I tell it to you, you are never going to forget it the rest of your life. It is that strong a piece of information. All right? It'll compete in your head with more important pieces of information, and it's going to win. I promise. So you have to agree that it's okay for me to tell it to you. Are you ready? Is it okay? I'm telling you, it's like a virus. It will never go away. All right, here we go. So this information is about the wombat. Does anybody know what a wombat is? Anybody? Anybody? It's like a little pig. It's a hairy little 75-pound pig, just a very aggressive pig in the wild. It's like a cast member of Jersey Shore's in the wild. It's just a little snooky pig, just looking for trouble. All right. And they are native to Las Vegas. Very good. Exactly. Of course, it's Australia, but it'd be more interesting if it was Las Vegas. It's like we went to Vegas. I couldn't even get to the roulette tables because of the wombats. They were everywhere. Okay, none of that's the information. Here we go. The wombat, the only animal on the planet, square poop. Try to forget that. Right now in your head, you're just going through the possibilities. How is that possible? Is he like a Play-Doh factory? Can he make other shapes? That is really odd. And as soon as you can get to your smartphone, you will check Google to make sure that's true or not. You'll pull up a picture of a wombat just going. That's amazing information right there. So the thing I like about the human brain is it can't leave an interesting piece of information alone. You immediately start going through and thinking about it and what is that, and kind of think of all these connections. So there's an interesting connection to that fact. By applause, how many people in here tend to believe in evolution? More evolutionary science type people. Applaud. Science. Okay, good. All right, evolutionarians. You tell me, what evolutionary advantage did the wombat gain from developing square poop? Has to be something, right? There are no round poop wombats left. Was it some kind of a sexual advantage? Were the female wombats like, oh, look at Charlie, he's got square poop. That is artistic. I like that. No? Nothing? All right. Okay, so on the other side, how many more Bible-oriented people do we have in here? Creationist-type people. Applaud if you're more into the creation story. Very nice. Okay, Bible people, you tell me why an omniscient God would choose to create an animal with square poop. What do you got? Because it's funny, right? That's exactly, it has to be he was trying to make the angels laugh. It's like, hey, angels, watch this. See that little animal? Bam. Square poop. No? Nothing? Angels have no sense of humor. So I like both of those big theories. One of the things I like about big areas of theory like that, both of them are very strong, beautiful areas of theory, good reasons to believe in both, and they just argue with each other all the time, right? It's like creationists are like, don't you make fun of my Bible. And evolutionaries are like, don't touch my textbook. They just fight. And I like that because I actually have a PhD in rhetoric. Anybody? Anybody? Any idea what that is? Great. That's my big life choices. Nobody knows what the heck it is. Rhetoric is the study of public argument and debate. Okay, it studies things like politics. It's a study of effective messages in public. Like if you're going to affect people, if you're going to persuade large groups of people, how do you do it? Okay, that's what rhetoric studies. It's actually within communication studies. I was a college professor for a long time, and I taught a lot of communication courses. And here, I'll teach you something about communication. It's kind of fun. I taught nonverbal communication for a long time. And that's the study of all the little things that we do when we talk to each other that you don't even really think about, but which are very powerful. Like this. When you say hello to somebody, if somebody's happy to see you, they do eyebrow flashes at you. It's like, hey, how you doing? Good, how are you? Hey, what's up? We all do that. You don't even think about it, okay? But if somebody doesn't do it, you get very upset. It's like, hey, how's it going? Fine. How are you? Like, what did I do? It's small, but it's powerful, so you can have fun with it. Next time you say hello to somebody, just keep doing it. Hey, what's going on? Not much. How are you? What's going on with you? You have to do a lot of nonverbal training with people in this culture, especially people called men. I don't know if you've noticed this, but males are a little bit limited in their communication repertoire. Females typically much better at verbal communication than males. You can put 5 women that don't know each other in a room together, and it's like hummingbirds on crack. They're just like, talk, 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 talk. Wow. Put 5 males who don't know each other, it's just like an hour of, uh-huh. So here's one of the things you have to do with males when you do communication training with them. You have to teach them to be active. Like males typically don't do nonverbal signaling. So like this is a man listening. Women are always like, are you alive? Are you listening to me? Yeah. That's how I listen. So here's a little piece of communication training, guys. Just learn to move your head when somebody's talking. Okay? Just practice that. Just nod your head a little bit. This dude's like, I'm not going to do it. I don't move my head. That is not manly. I don't do that. If you can nod your head when somebody else is talking to you, they will talk to you all day long because it looks like you actually like what they're saying. Right? And women know this. They're very active when they listen. So you can have fun with this one, too. Next time you're at work and your boss is up there in a meeting or something and they're talking, just start nodding your head while they're talking. And they will start talking right to you because it looks like you really like what they're saying. So do that for a little while and then switch and go, So I love communication. I love studying that stuff. And the reason I bring that up at the beginning of the show is because I'm about to do a one-man show for you guys that I wrote a while back. And before I do it, what I need from you is to understand that I'm going to do 2 things tonight, all right? I'm going to make you laugh because this is a comedy club, and that's why we're here. And also I'm going to try to persuade you about something, all right? So I'm letting you know up front that I have 2 agendas. You're going to laugh all the way through, but I'm also going to try to make you change something that you do, all right? So what I need from you is to do this at the beginning, just to lower your inner resistor a little bit. Americans all have this very intense inner resistor. Like as soon as I said I'm going to persuade you, you're all like, nope. I haven't been persuaded since '92. I am not listening to this. And I get it. Like I live in Texas right now, and that's like the cantankerous state. They don't agree to anything. They still want to secede. The state slogan for Texas should be, it's Texas. Uh-huh. Like, Texans get more tickets written for not wearing their seatbelts than any other state. And they're actually proud about that. It's like, that's right. You cannot tell me that I cannot go face first through my truck windshield. If I so desire, that is a liberty. I'll fly through the air and take out a hippie. That's a good way to die. It's Texas. But all of our countries are like that. The Americans love to be cantankerous. That's why, like, this country has more guns than the rest of the world combined. More gun owners. Like, where are the gun owners in this country? Or in this? You guys, gun owners tonight. Where are you at? Applaud if you have guns. Okay, there you go. Good Americans right there. And gun owners, no matter where they are, immediately become constitutional experts on one amendment. It's all right, Second Amendment. That's my right to bear arms right there. Second Amendment. It's like, well, what's the Third Amendment? Third Amendment, I don't care about any other amendments. Third Amendment says I can shoot you for asking me questions about other amendments. I think that's legal. They wrote that in. So we're very good at resisting things. Just put it away for a while. It's just comedy. I'm going to do one thing at the end of the show, and you'll see why, and we'll have fun. All right, so let's get started. A while back, I lost a lot of weight, 125 pounds. Yes. That is a lot of weight. That's like a chubby jockey. It's a ballerina who ate a biscuit. A supermodel with a deep thought. That's what I lost right there. And that was in my mid-30s. It was about 10 years ago when I weighed that much, and it took a long time. It was a long process for losing that much weight. But it's a very intense process when you do that. And I started telling jokes about it on stage because that's what comedians do. They write about their life. And people start coming to me after the show, and they start asking me, well, what did you actually do to lose that weight? And I got all these questions, and it's weird because when they ask me that, it's almost like they're suspicious at first. They're like, well, what'd you do? Lose that weight. That ain't natural. This is America. We don't lose weight. Have you been to Walmart? I don't like it. What'd you do, make a deal with the devil? Is that it? Your soul for abs? I don't know. Are deals with the devil actually available anymore? Seems like they were around a lot, according to our literature a while back. If anybody ever did actually make a deal with the devil for real, I submit that it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. You ever think about that guy's life? He's an amazing life. He was 14 years old, living in Austria, which isn't even a real country. They just built it for the sound of music. It doesn't... It's like Germany Light. Nobody's ever been there. It doesn't really exist. So here's this guy, 14 years old, living in a fake country. Decides he's going to do something big with his life. So he conjures the devil, probably on Facebook. He's like, devil, I want to do something big. Here's what I want. I want to be Mr. Olympia, the greatest bodybuilder of all time. I want to win it 7 times. That's what I want. And devil's like, well, all right, that's kind of a big one, but I'll write up the contract. And Schwarzenegger's like, no, wait. I also want to be an international movie action hero. One of the greatest characters of all time, the Terminator. That's what I want. And devil's like, dude, slow down. One dream, one soul. That's what I do. Schwarzenegger's like, no, I also want to be a real estate billionaire and the governor of California. Devil's like, really? What else? You want to marry a Kennedy? Yes, I do, devil. That is a good idea. And why don't you make her anorexic, just to be weird? That would be interesting. And then I'd like to have a child out of wedlock with the ugliest woman on the planet. I'm talking slap your baby in the face ugly. Just a really not attractive human. Oh, and devil, before you go, one more thing. I want to do all of this with a speech impediment. That is an amazing negotiation right there. That guy. So I did not sell my soul to lose weight. What people first really are suspicious about is whether I got surgery or not, okay? And I did not get surgery. I'm not exactly sure where I stand on surgery. It helps people sometimes, it seems. But I personally have a thing against surgery. It's called surgery. I don't like being cut open. I don't know. And there's so many surgeries you can get. It's almost hard to decide what to do. Like, you can get cankle reduction. Do you know what that is? You guys know what a cankle is? It's where your knee just kind of becomes a foot. There's no real, it's like a cigarette with toes. There's no Hillary Clinton syndrome. Have you seen Hillary? It's bad. It is bad. Almost don't blame Bill. It's bad. And so you can get cankles fixed. You can get toe shortening. That's an option that you have these days. I don't know, like, is anybody adversely having their life affected consistently by the length of their toes? Anybody? Ladies out there, it's like, oh, every time I meet a guy, he's like, you're so beautiful, and I love you. Oh my God, are those your feet? Get away from me, Medusa toes. Those, you could carry a mouse away with those feet. Look at that. Oh. So I did not get surgery. The big problem I have with surgery really is no matter what you get, lap band or staple or any of that stuff, it's all the same thing. Basically, they reduce your stomach to a tiny little stomach. So you can only eat a tiny amount of food. And what do they call it when you can only eat a tiny amount of food? Starvation. That's what they call it. That's why people lose weight really fast on stomach stapling, but they lose it so fast they look kind of weird, like Al Roker, that guy. You know, they just look really skinny with like kind of still a big potato head or something. It's an odd look. So I didn't do that. Also didn't take any of the weight loss products that are out there that you can take, and there are a lot of them. Like I didn't take clenbuterol. Does anybody know what clenbuterol is? You should in Kentucky. It's a horse stimulant. They give it to horses, thoroughbred horses, to cut fat and grow muscle. Let's review that. It's a horse stimulant. Do you hear the word human in there anywhere? No, but apparently that's what Hollywood movie stars take to get ripped for their movies. Like when they all go through these big transitions, you're like, oh, she looks great. She's been taking clenbuterol because it's really fast. The only side effect, apparently, is that it thickens your heart. Yeah. Luckily, nobody in Hollywood has a heart, so it doesn't really matter. I didn't take HCG. Does anybody know what that one is? Human chorionic gonadotropin? Yeah? Do you know where they get that? It's a hormone, synthetic hormone. Not synthetic, but real hormone. Does anybody know where they get it? They get it from, pregnant lady pee. That's where they get HCG. And apparently what happens, supposedly, is if you inject yourself with it, you can go down to 500 calories a day, and you won't lose muscle, you'll just burn fat. My question is, what weird fetish researcher discovered this fact? Walking in the lab one day, he's like, hey guys, you know how I like to roll around in pregnant lady pee and syringes? I am ripped. Look at this. This is great. So I didn't do that. I didn't take HGH, which is human growth hormone. That is Sylvester Stallone's drug. That's what he likes to take, which is why he looks like a grandpa who made it with a raptor. Take it easy, Sylvester. Depends and abs, they really don't go together. Take it easy. I didn't do any steroids, although obviously those at least work for growing muscle. If you remember the last few years of Barry Bonds in the Major League Baseball, when they would bring him in the stadium like a Macy's Day float. It's like, is that Bullwinkle or is that a human being? Look at him. Just do not fear me, humans. I'm just here to hit your home runs. Lots of people get bigger in their 40s. I didn't take any of that. I did not take meth to lose weight, which is what a woman yelled out at this point in the show in West Virginia. Either that or she was ordering from the waitress. I'm not quite sure. So I didn't do any of those programs like that. I also did not start running. Okay? A lot of people suggest, well, you just run that weight off, just kind of get out there and run. And do I look like a runner? I don't run. Not at all. Ever. I don't do it. But you know who are great runners? Kenyans. Kenyans are amazing runners. Kenyans actually are so good at running, they come to the U.S. every year and they win all of our marathons, which is really kind of rude if you think about it. What if a bunch of Americans showed up at an African eating contest? It would be completely unfair. We would dominate. There'd be 6 tall, thin Africans sitting down in front of large clay bowls filled with quinoa. And over the hill in slow motion comes the team from Alabama. It's just one family. Everybody topping 350. They're all wearing sports bras, even the dudes. They've got their dog with them. He's a half pit bull, half hippopotamus. He's a hippopotamus. Big dogs, very dangerous in the water. And they just sit down and just decimate everything. They eat it all. Tables, chairs, other contestants. Eat it all. We are Alabama because we can eat in this country. But Kenyans can run. Oh my God, Kenyans can run. You know, 9 out of the 10 fastest times ever run in a marathon were run by Kenyans. 9 out of 10. That is 40%, Kentucky. Thank you for laughing at that. They did not laugh in E-Town when I said that joke. They were like, that's about right. That seems good with us. Does anybody know why Kenyans are such amazing runners? I'm going to tell you. Because of hyenas. The entire country is crawling with hyenas. When you walk out your front door, you have got to move. They're behind the Applebee's sign, top of the Starbucks. That's why a marathon is 26.2 miles. Hyenas die at 26.1 miles. Discovery Channel, Death of a Hyena. Very touching documentary. So check that one out. I have runners come up to me after the show sometimes. They're like, Dan, that is not the origin of the marathon. The marathon began in ancient Greece in 490 BC when, after the Battle of Marathon, one of the soldiers ran all the way back to Athens, 26.2 miles, to tell the assembly, we have won. And then he died. I'm like, well, that may be true, but who were the Greeks fighting at Marathon? Hyenas. You need to study your fake history a little bit better. My favorite part of that story is the guy who ran the first marathon, laid down at the end of it and died. Well, if anything will inspire a worldwide exercise phenomenon, it's death at the end of your sport. I'd like to try that. That looked like fun. Are there any runners in here tonight by applause? Anybody run as a form of exercise? Runners? Back here? Okay. A little tired, couldn't make it all the way into the show. All right. Cool. I don't know. My problem, the reason why I didn't run is running basically just makes you little, right? I mean, have you seen the Kenyans? They're essentially a heart with 4 pipe cleaners. It doesn't even look like they have arms. Like, because when you run all the time as an endurance triathlete or endurance, a person who trains endurance, your body's like, this is a lot of work. I'm going to get smaller. I'm going to just shrink a little bit. I'm going to little you up. So I didn't do that stuff. So a lot of things I didn't do. This is the point of the show where people started asking, well, what did you do? What actually did you do? So first of all, you have to realize I did not just gain weight in my 30s. My late 30s, I became, that was my biggest, but I was the chubby kid my whole life. I was born big and I grew fast. By the time I was 6 weeks old, I was wearing a toozie. That's a great joke if you're a parent. That is toozie. My 4th birthday was at the Cheesecake Factory. Not the restaurant, an actual Cheesecake Factory. Go to the source. When I was 7 years old, I have a picture of Santa sitting on my lap. I was a large child. I gained weight in high school, gained weight in college, got married, had 2 kids. So by the time I was in my 30s, I'd become sort of a macaroni and cheese-filled human bouncy house. I was 300 pounds, and I'm bald, short, and white. That is a snowman. It's not a good look. So, but it turns out I'm not the only one that's having this problem, okay? Our species is having difficulty with obesity these days. Like, for the first time in human history, there are more overweight people on this planet, people who weigh overweight, than underweight. There's 1 billion people now that are overweight on the planet, and only 800,000 that are underweight. That's never happened before. We're going to have to reshoot those commercials for the 70s, the skinny kids. We have to make them for chubby kids. It's like, if you would just come down here and spare 10 minutes of your time to knock these cupcakes out of Ralphie's hand, you could make a difference. And of course, America, like in most things, is leading the way. We are 33% obese as a country. 75% of us are overweight. We have states that are approaching 40% obesity. There are 3 of them that are always statistically tied: Alabama, West Virginia, and Mississippi. They are neck and neck, and neck and neck and neck and neck and neck and neck. A couple of chins. There's only one state in the country still under 20% obesity. You know which one it is? Anybody? Not California. Colorado, that's right. And that's just because of the elevation. They can't get a biscuit to their mouths. They're a weak people. That's what it is. And all this is new, okay? Our obesity rates have tripled in the last 30 years. Before 1980, the national obesity rate in this country was 9%. It's all tripled in less than 3.5 decades, which is crazy. America was always a very lean country. Always. Like, have you seen pictures of soldiers in World War II? They were little. They were thin. That's why it took 8 of them to raise one flag on Iwo Jima. They were little. Those little green army men, those were actual size. G.I. Joe was bulky. Something has changed in our country, and that's kind of what we got to sort of figure out. What has happened that's different, that's suddenly made us, in 30 years, triple our obesity rates? And now, like, it's not like I didn't try to lose weight. Like, for most people in this culture, we constantly try to lose weight. More than likely, a lot of you in here tonight are on some kind of a diet, all right? So we constantly fail. 95% of the people who lose weight in this culture gain it back within 2 years and gain extra. 95 out of every 100 people. There's only 5% that actually diet successfully. That's weird. Something has happened. So what has happened? That's the question. First of all, this is the first thought I had that actually helped me lose weight and keep it off for my whole life. It was this. It was that whoever's been in charge for the last 35 years is fired. Mainstream nutritional advice is fired. Because I don't care who they are, they're not telling us the right stuff. And all they'll do is tell you, oh, we're telling you the right stuff, you're just not doing it. Okay? There's no coach in any sport that gets to go 5-95 for 35 years and blame the players. Somebody would call a press conference. All right? So they are fired. Like, who's been in charge, first of all? The government. That's a good idea. Yeah? You want to put those people in charge of telling you what to eat, right? Because you've been standing at the DMV sometime going, oh, yeah, these guys know what they're doing. I wonder if they would tell me what to eat. The government came up with the food pyramid. That's been their big contribution. They call it that because if you eat that kind of food, you will end up buried underneath one. A pyramid. They bury people under pyramids. All right. So mainstream's fired. So here's what I did. I went to the internet and I started typing in alternative ways of losing weight. Let's find something different. I'm just going to try something different this time because I'm ignorant about this. And I'm from Kentucky. I understand ignorance. All right? Sometimes I look around at my family at reunions and I'm like, oh, this is surprising that we're still around. How are you guys doing this? So I started doing some research on alternative things about weight loss, and I found a lot of interesting stuff. So here's one of the first things I found out, is that people who sleep more in this culture weigh less. Did you know that? People who sleep 10% more than other people in this culture by at least an hour weigh 15 to 20% less. That's an amazing statistic. So basically, if you just follow that logic without even investigating it, if you go to sleep more, you'll weigh less. That is a great justification for sleeping in. Just call into work chubby. Say, I don't think I can get up today. I won't be able to fit in my pants tomorrow. I'm going to have to stay in, I think. Which is great, because I love to sleep, right? How many people love to sleep in here by applause? Just, oh, my gosh, do I love to sleep. I love to sleep so much that I think it's unnatural to set an alarm clock in the morning. It's unnatural. The first emotion you experience during your day should not be alarm. That's why they call it that. That's what it does to you. You are laying there peacefully asleep and suddenly, ah! What was that? Oh, my day started. I'm alarmed. Startled, irritated, and angry. I'm ready for work. Why not just have a clown jump out of the closet at you? Swinging a machete. Wake up, go to work. Your wife's pregnant again. Get some health care. The alarm is a rude device. It's made to be rude to you. If a human being came into your room every morning, 6 a.m., and leaned down right by your head and went, you would shoot that person. But we buy a machine to do that to us. It's weird. Sometimes it goes off and doesn't even wake you up. It just enters your dreams. So it can annoy you there. Like you're having a dream, and in your dream you're having dinner with a panda. It's a dream. And the panda just stops eating and just looks at you and goes, beep, 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 beep. What are you doing, panda? Is there a UPS truck in this dream? Panda, is that the alarm? You betrayed me. You're a bad panda. Then you're awake. The only thing I like about the alarm clock is the snooze button. Don't you love that thing? Oh, I love it. Do you ever put the clock into bed with you? So you don't even have to reach to hit the snooze button? You just lay there asleep with your hand on top of it. Just twitch every 10 minutes. And every time you twitch, you come up with a new plan. I'll skip the shower. I don't stink that bad. I won't have breakfast. I'll have a Snickers. That has nuts in it. That's healthy. I don't want this job anyway. You ever do that every day of your life? Yes. So even if you try to decide to get a good night's sleep, it's hard. It is hard to get a good night's sleep. Partially because you're always sleeping with somebody else, and they do it wrong. All this weird stuff people do when they sleep. All these disorders they have, like talking in your sleep. Applaud if you sleep with somebody who talks in their sleep. Applaud. Isn't it just, they say the weirdest stuff. 2 a.m. is perfectly silent, and this is what I hear next to me. Nobody talks that way to the lieutenant. No more CSI for you. That is... And they're so articulate that they fool you. You think they're awake half the time. It's like, hey, will you give me some Swiss cheese? It's 3 a.m. Are you hungry? Hey, you're not even awake, are you? Bad panda. Oh. No cheese for us. Lots of things people do when they sleep. There are midnight cuddlers. People go to sleep on their side of the bed, but sometime during the night have to crawl over and attach themselves to you like a human backpack. Filled up with I can't be alone for 6 minutes. And they get mad at you if you don't cuddle with them. It's like, I just wanted to cuddle. Just want to put my knee in your kidney and my arm around your throat, drool on your face. But you don't love me anymore. Get off me, cuddler. And there's some people, and those people are called women, whose feet freeze after midnight. What is up with female foot circulation in the dark? You get up and go to the bathroom and just dip your feet in the toilet? Oh. That's going to feel good on his back. Ice spine this guy. People are weird with their feet when they sleep. I used to have a girlfriend who would rub her feet together all night long, like a human cricket. And she would slowly pull the sheets off of me, like I was in an all-night tug-of-war with a tiny little elf. In the morning, I'd wake up freezing, and old turban feet was just fine. They're jerk sleepers. Somebody sleep with somebody who just jerks all the time. Like they're getting tasered in a dream. Like, take it easy, mosh pit. It's going to be all right. Of course, the worst people to sleep with, snorers. Yeah, applaud if you sleep with somebody who snores real loud. Oh, my God. Isn't that the worst sound on the planet? You just laying there in the dark going, what is in this room with me? Is that somebody sucking frogs into a wet vac? Playing soccer with baby hippos? What is happening in here? And it's not just men. Women snore too. It's like, oh, my dainty little flower. She has given mouth birth to a foghorn. Of course, some people have no sleep problems at all. The morning people, where are you guys at? Applaud if you're a morning person. Oh, you people. We hate you people. Just God's little kissy faces, aren't you? Yeah, just wake up with angels blowing whispers on your earlobes. Kittens nibbling rainbows. Life is beautiful. I get it. Yeah, lucky you. I have a neighbor who wakes up every morning at 4:30 so she can go jog. Yeah. The only reason you should run at 4:30 is to get away from the scene of a crime. I wouldn't run at 4:30 if there was a slow-moving truck in front of me carrying a hot tub full of Hooters girls and Mark Twain was grilling out on the tailgate. Go on, Twain and the Hooters girls. Too early. I've actually seen my neighbor getting up to go out and jog when I'm coming in from the night before. That's an interesting moment. She's out there on her side of the street, running in place, taking her pulse so her little hamster heart doesn't burst. I fall out of my truck, covered in bar stamps and bad decisions. We both just look at each other like, you are doing it wrong. I don't sleep very well. I have insomnia. Any insomniacs in here by applause? Anybody insomniackers? Yeah. I go to sleep fine, but I wake up in the middle of the night for no reason. Like, here's an impression of me at 3 a.m. What's going on? Nothing. Guess I'll stay up for 2 hours and make sure. It's awful. Part of my problem is I'm a very light sleeper. Like, anything can wake me up. Any sound at all. Moth burp. Doesn't get me. Cricket folding his pajamas. I can hear that. Marshmallows in the kitchen making out. That's why they're stuck together in that bag. Try not to think of that next time you see marshmallows. And I try everything to get back to sleep. I follow all the traditional advice. I drink warm milk right from a hot cow. Not easy to find at 3 a.m., if I do. My problem is that the traditional advice doesn't work, okay? I try all the things that I've heard, doesn't work. I still have insomnia. So, like I said, I don't like traditional information so much right now, so I went online again, and I started researching insomnia, alternative ways of dealing with it. And so some of the things I found, like you can take Benadryl. Has anybody ever tried that one? Take Benadryl to sleep? Yeah. That helps. I slept, but the next morning I was completely brain fogged. Like, I just could not think all day. I'm just wandering around in a daze, just going like, oh, so this must be what it feels like to graduate from UK. It's a different college every night. It really doesn't matter, so that's fine. So I couldn't do Benadryl because I need my brain. I tried valerian root. Has anybody tried that one? It's a little extract from a flower. Also worked. Okay, it's more natural than a Benadryl, and it also worked, but I was still brain foggy the next day. Tried melatonin. Has anybody tried that one? Okay. That one didn't help me. It helps a lot of people. Doesn't have any effect on me at all. What actually ended up helping was chamomile tea, which is weird. I have to drink a hot cup of chamomile tea before I go to sleep, which is a weed, and that helps me sleep. And you know it's true, because no grown man would stand up here and tell you that he has to have his chamomile. Which I discovered on the internet, and I just tried different things until I found something that worked, okay? And that's the beautiful thing about the internet. It's like the University of Google, right? And all that's completely free. I didn't have to go get a diagnosis or anything else. I just self-experimented a little bit and found something that worked, which is basically what I did with all my weight loss stuff. is I just found things online. I'm like, I'm going to try that and see if it works. So here's something I found online that I tried that really was very useful. For a long time, for a full year, I gave up all American corporate food. I didn't eat anything made by an American corporation, manufactured by an American corporation for a whole year. You ever try that? I'll tell you why, because our food makes people fat. If you look at the one thing that's changed in the last 35 years, American companies have gotten better and better at getting us to eat their food. And their food is weird. Right? You can drop our food anywhere and it makes people fat. You can drop it into the Sudan, come back 6 months later, and they'll all be big-bellied rednecks. Like, welcome to the Sudan. How y'all doing? We've been eating that food of y'all's. It is good. Woo. We had to double wide the hut over here. We call it the Pizza Hut now. We don't know what's going on, but it is good food. Our food is weird. It is. And you know it's weird. You grew up eating weird food. You don't even know what it is, half of that food. You can't tell me what it is. Like, you tell me what Velveeta is. What is Velveeta? It's cheese food. That's what they call it. They don't even call it cheese. They call it cheese food. What is cheese food? That is something cheese eats. I don't want to be eating something that feeds my cheese. And you know it's weird. It's got the consistency of nothing else on the planet. Just a big orange cinder block of something that moves like nothing else moves. Doesn't matter what you do to Velveeta. You can punch a slab of Velveeta and it just goes. That's all it'll do. No matter, you can hit it with a bat. That is weird. It is a weird substance. And to make it edible, you have to cook it, right? I mean, nobody ever just sits down to eat Velveeta, do you? Like, oh, I'm going to get a big chunk of Velveeta, get my Vita on. That's what I'm going to do. You have to cook it and add salsa and use chips and everything else. And even then, you know, you got to eat it fast because it's going to turn. What has happened to my Velveeta? It's growing a placenta. Look at that. It's weird. Do I eat that? Am I supposed to eat that top? Here's a funny fact about Velveeta cheese. 5% of the population eats 75% of the Velveeta cheese. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I'm related to all 5%. You walk into my house, just somebody sitting there with a big vat of Velveeta and a wooden spork. Hey, come on in. Welcome to the Sudan. We have all these foods we grew up with, and you don't know what they are. Spam? What the heck is Spam? Spam's the only food that sounds like it's being born when it comes out of its can. I don't want to eat freshly born food. That is weird. That is odd. Spam. Then we have the dustables, like things that aren't food. They come in packets. They're only dust until you add stuff to them. That's like Hamburger Helper. Where in nature does orange dust occur? What is that stuff? Oh, we found that right in the valley behind Death Valley. It's Orange Dust Valley. We discovered it in the 40s. It was protected by a little race of severed hands and white gloves with faces in them and 4 fingers. We killed those off and kept one of them for the mascot on TV. You realize that? You've been sold Hamburger Helper for 30 years by hand with a face in it. That is the weirdest advertising ever. That must be the most persuasive ad exec in history. He's walking up to the Hamburger Helper guys. He's like, we love your product, and I think I got a great mascot for you. Severed hand. With a face in it. What do you think? Here, take this LSD and let's try again. All the advertising for American corporate food is weird, though, if you ever look at it. Like, my favorite thing to look at is breakfast cereal, the way they advertise that. It's all advertised as drugs. It's all drug behavior. It's like crack. Something is always after something in breakfast world. It's like, oh, they're always after me Lucky Charms. Take it easy, paranoid leprechaun. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. That's crack. That is crack you're cuckoo for. You know? Barney is always stealing Fred's Fruity Pebbles. That's what a crack addict does. He steals from his best friend. That is weird. Kool-Aid busts through the wall like he's there to collect money. Ah! Kool-Aid's here. Where's my money at for my dust? That is weird advertising. It's weird food, okay? So I didn't eat it for a year. And you know where all that food comes from? It all comes from World War II. During the war, the government hired all the scientists to do food science so they can send more food that wouldn't go bad to the front lines. And after the war, they just used it in American food corporations. That's where it all came from. So basically, it's Hitler's fault that we're fat. Thanks a lot, Hitler. You're a bad dude. And so what happens actually is that stuff is science created and it's all super pulverized and your body doesn't know what to do with it. So if you just cut that stuff out, just watch what your body does. It recovers its natural chemistry and you immediately start to lose weight. Just because you're not always clogging up your hormones and all the chemistry inside of you with food that it doesn't quite understand. I lost 40 pounds just by doing that, okay? I still ate, but I just didn't eat American food for a year. So the first question people always have is, well, then what did you eat? Okay, what's left? When you get behind Tombstone Pizza, they call it Tombstone. Did you notice that? There are clues, people, if you just listen. So what I did, the first thing I did was I ate this stuff called, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's called real food. It like grows out of the dirt. Which I tried to explain to my kids. I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old kid, and I'm like, hey, food grows from the dirt. And they're like, no, it doesn't, Daddy. Food appears in boxes. You put it in the microwave, and it becomes food. You're scaring us with your stories. So what I did, I started buying the best food I could find, a different sort of more specialty health food stores, just trying to get good vegetables and things like that. And my daughter and I started watching Food Network to figure out how to cook, because I did not know how to cook. Okay, I was a hamburger helper kid. That's the kind of stuff I made. So we'd watch stuff on Food Network, which they have some crazy shows on there. Like Man vs. Food. Have you seen that one? Yeah, the guy's always going around taking these eating challenges. He's gotten fat. Have you noticed that? He got kind of fat. I think that show's misnamed. If it's going to be Man vs. Food, it should be a fat guy in a burger joint trying to only eat a salad. That'd be a food challenge right there. So my daughter and I, we start cooking stuff, and we'd mess it up because I'm a terrible cook, and then the next time we get a little better and a little better, and so we, as a family, we just started to cook more. And that helped a lot. But I still was probably 30 or 40 pounds overweight, so you keep looking for other things. And if you look for alternative ways of eating on the internet, one of the things you run into is plant eating. Vegans, vegetarians, stuff like that. Any vegans here tonight? Any vegetarians? By applause. Very nice. Too weak to put your hands together? What is the problem? Trying to hold the pen and sign the check. When I try something, I'm going to try it though, okay? And I ate vegan for almost 9 months. I didn't have meat for almost 9 months, just to see what the difference was and how it felt. And I didn't think I could do it at all. Like just like the rest of you, I'm like, could not go a day without meat, right? I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. So, and I admire a lot of what the vegans actually stand for. Some of their politics, like no cruelty to animals, which I get. Like the vegans say that they don't want to eat anything that has a face, which I completely understand. It'd be a lot harder to eat vegetables if they had a face. You know, if every time you went to pick up a carrot, it was like... That'd be hard. But I don't know. I think, animals are designed to eat animals. That's kind of the way it is, right? Like, who's really cruel to animals? Other animals. I have a cat who just brings me dead things all the time. He's like, look, it's dead. You want it? It's obviously natural on this planet for animals to eat other animals, right? And they don't have any guilt about it. No lion has ever been standing over a zebra that it just killed going, my God, what have I done? So I tried vegan for a while, but I couldn't do it. So what I switched to is the diet that I do now. I just went the complete opposite. I'm like, okay, I didn't eat meat for 9 months. I'm going to try whatever meat-heavy diet there is. And so I now eat paleo diet. By applause, you may know the paleo diet. You may ever heard of it? All right, I'm going to go over it real quick. This is the persuasion part, by the way, okay? So lower your resistance a little bit. Here it comes. The paleo diet, it's short for Paleolithic. And what it basically says is that if you do believe in evolution, human beings in some form have been on the planet for 5 to 7 million years. And for the last 200,000 years, we've been modern humans, and we've basically developed a genetics and a DNA over that time based on what we've been eating all that time. Okay, we've adjusted to a certain food supply. Only in the last 10,000 years did we start to farm. We've only done that for 10,000 years as a species. 10,000 years ago, for whatever reason, we got smarter and was like, we figured out how to grow grass seed and eat it. That's all grains are. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's corn or wheat or rice or oats or any of that stuff. It's grass, the seed at the top. We figured out how to grow a lot of it, turn it into food. What the paleo people said is that we're smart enough to do that, but it's not good for us. That grains and beans, that when we start to eat those, that's what's caused so much of our modern problems. And the reason they say that is that there are cultures on the planet that still do not farm and have never in their entire history ever eaten grains. So if you look at them, they're called hunter-gatherer cultures. They still exist on the planet. They've just eaten animals that they can catch and things that they can find, typically root vegetables like sweet potatoes that are big that they can collect easily. What's the difference between them and us? Okay, that's what they look at. Well, it turns out hunter-gatherer cultures have no cancer in the entire culture. No cancers. All right? They have no heart disease. They have no strokes. They have no osteoporosis. They have no arthritis. They don't have Alzheimer's disease. They don't degenerate the way we do when we get older. They have no multiple sclerosis. They've never even heard of most of this stuff. A lot of cultures don't even have a concept of dying. It's either you're alive or you're dead. They literally will say, a researcher asked one time, what did he die of? And they're like, death. He was fine, and then he wasn't. Now, as a rhetorician, as somebody who studies rhetoric, that's a pretty powerful argument, okay? I'm not a scientist. I don't go out and study stuff like that. But when I read that, I'm like, really? So modern civilization, the main difference is that we eat grains and beans, things that we grow, and it has an effect on our bodies that apparently is not good. So what the paleo diet is that let's look back at what we used to eat and try to go back and eat that again as much as we can. So they eat naturally fed animals. They don't eat grain-fed animals. Like most of our meat is all grain-fed and soy-fed, so it's just eating the same things. Try to find naturally fed animals and naturally grown vegetables and see what happens. And I've been eating that for almost the last 2 years, and I stayed about 175 to 180 pounds without restricting any calories and eating as much as I want because it fits my body chemistry. So that's the logic of the paleo diet. So that's the persuasion part of the show. All right? So what I want you to try to do is I have a website. It's called healthycomedian.com. And I don't make any money off the paleo diet. I'm not selling you anything. But I have all these links on there that you can go check out if you're interested in the research. The best website of all is called robwolf.com. It's a great guy who has 150 hours of free podcasts about all this stuff. So it's all free. The internet makes stuff free. Goodbye, colleges. My kids are like, where am I going to school? University of Google. Go get it. Much cheaper. So yeah, that's the persuasion part of the show. So go to my website, check that out. One other little announcement before I get to the end of the show. I also sell a CD at the end of the show if you're looking for a little souvenir. It's called Bad Panda. It's not the show you saw tonight. I think the sleep bit is on there, but the rest of it's all different. It's an hour of clean comedy that I usually do when I'm not doing my one-man show. So you can stop by and buy a CD if you'd like, but you can stop by and say hello too. It doesn't matter. Also, if you have questions about that stuff, send me emails. All right? I give you a free ebook if you email me. Just email me with Louisville in the subject title through my website, and I'll send you a free ebook. I had somebody literally send me an email today who was at the show last night, and she told me her 14-year-old daughter has ovarian cancer, and she asked me about some of the research with eating a paleo diet for that stuff. And there's a great website called paleohacks.com where people are on discussion boards who have the same problems, and they just talk about it. So I sent her to it, and it's nice to be able to share information with people. So that's what Healthy Comedian is. That's what the show, Persuasion part of the show is. Okay, cool? Are we good with that? You're not hurt? All right? Good. All right, so one other thing you will find if you do research about getting your health improved on the internet is that good relationships, people who typically have good relationships are healthier people. They weigh less than people who say they have bad relationships. Do you know that? Again, it's like 7 or 8% difference, which is pretty significant. And I took that, I think that's true because a while back I got divorced. About the same time I started to lose weight. Has anybody ever been on the divorce diet over here? Anybody ever used that one? It's kind of an interesting one. Very intense. I'm not advocating it. I'm just saying it works. Interesting fact about my ex, we had a good marriage for a long time, and then one day we kind of looked at each other and went, you done? Yeah, me too. We were married for 12 years. Interesting fact about our marriage is a little bit different. I was married to a marriage and family therapist. I got divorced from a marriage counselor. I win. It's interesting being married. It's very stressful to be married to a therapist. It really is. Because they don't fight with you. They diagnose you. We've been in the middle of an argument, and she'd be like, you're not even mad at me right now. This is displaced anger towards your mother. Really? Where'd you find that in your big book? That is silly. We went to a therapist ourselves for a while, which is kind of useful, but don't get a female marriage counselor. Completely favored my ex-wife. She referred to me as the perpetrator. Every week. She'd be like, what'd the perp do this week? Partly it was my fault. You don't put a comedian into therapy. It's so serious. Just like a constant setup for a punchline. I couldn't help myself. The therapist would be like, so, Mr. French, what do you think would make your marriage better? 3 ways? You're cute. She would say things to me like, I sense that you block your true feelings with humor. Knock, knock. It's usually guys who won't go to therapy. Guys resist it. But if you ever do go, guys, this is what's going to happen. It's very easy. You just sit down, and the therapist will ask, so why do you think you're here? And the guy will go, she's crazy. She's just crazy. Crazy. All guys in long-term relationships are convinced that the woman they're with is actually crazy. Yeah. Guys, are women crazy? Guys, yeah. Yeah. And the ones that are really with crazy women are not saying anything to me right now. Just looking at me like, dude, move on. I have no idea how my ride home will be. This is... Women, you're a little bit crazy, aren't you? Women, are you crazy? Are you? You know it, don't you? When you're alone, you'll say that to yourself all the time. It's like, God, I'm crazy. I just do not believe the things that I do. I was going to skip lunch today. Instead, I had 9 Snickers bars. I hid in the closet at work to eat them. I put the wrappers in the chubby guy's trash can. I'm not right. Women are a little bit crazy. They are. Guys are not crazy, by the way. Guys are not crazy. They are not. Guys are stupid. That is the distinction between the genders. Women have way too many thoughts in their heads. Guys have way too few. The inside of a woman's head is like a 90 intersection highway. All the thoughts just look at each other like, who's gonna go, huh? I'm gonna go. No, I'm not messing with you. Ha, take that. That's why women are always asking for opinions to try to break up that log jam in their head. They'll ask you about opinions about things you could not possibly have an opinion about. Like, which earrings look better? That one's blue. The inside of a man's head is just a lone highway. Just going through a desert, no exits. It's like I decided everything when I was 10. I'm not changing my mind. I've had enough thoughts. I don't need any more. Clouding it all up. And women, you think you know how stupid we are? You have no idea. We don't tell you half the things we actually think. You couldn't handle it. You walk in the room, you're like, what are you thinking about? What am I thinking about? I was sitting there thinking about throwing the dog out the window. Just want to see what he would do. I was considering giving the hamster a full-body mohawk. You see him running that wheel. I was trying to figure out how to rig the windshield wipers on the truck to shoot beer into my mouth. Guys are all like, that's a pretty good thought. I wonder if I could do that. That's not bad. Guys are stupid. And if you don't think you're stupid, that's because you're too stupid to know you're stupid. That is stupid. So what I learned, this is my big trick, secret, I think, for getting along in relationships, and this ties back into the weight loss stuff and trying to improve your health, is that you have to support each other, okay? All this stuff about diet and fitness is obviously really hard right now for our species, so we have to make it as easy as we possibly can for each other. Like when I see people overweight now, I don't even see fat. What I see is inflammation. Like your body is trying to work chemistry that it can't actually deal with. And that's all I really see because I've learned a lot about it. And especially with females in our culture, it's harder because females are designed by nature to carry twice as much fat as males. Like a healthy male is like 13% body fat, and for women it's about 22%, which makes it harder on women, which doesn't make sense at all because women are so much more negative about themselves anyway. Women have an extra internal negative voice always going off in their heads that men don't have. All right, you can walk up to the most beautiful woman you've ever seen and go, "You are gorgeous," and she'll be like, "Oh, thanks." I have a big knee. Don't look at it, it's huge. I'm gonna get knee reduction, I swear I am. Women just have you learn an extra internal negativity in our culture, okay? Like women will actually do this. They'll walk in the room and openly insult themselves out loud, okay? And if you happen to be in that room when they say that and you do not negate that insult, you become the original source of the insult. Have you seen that one work? She'll walk in the room, she's like, I'm getting fat. I think I've gained some weight. I can barely fit in these. Do you think? Well, no, maybe a little. What did you just say to me? How long have you thought I was fat? I can't believe you said that. I'm calling my friends. This is ridiculous. Women are very much more internally negative. That's why males, you learn very quickly, in a good relationship, it is your job, it is your responsibility to compliment the woman that you're with. Right? Ladies, am I right? That is their job. Get in there and do it. You know? And you think like, oh, every other day. No. Constantly. Every other sentence. Just get in there. Just like, you walk in from work, she's like, how's your day? It was great, and you are beautiful. Look at you. And sell it. Take an acting class or something. Get in there and sell it. Oh, I can't believe you. You're so amazing. All the time, because that counteracts that voice in their head. All right? And ladies on your side, if you could just be a little easier to compliment, maybe, just a little. Because if it's a little slightly inauthentic, women will shoot it down. It's like you tell a woman, she's like, how do I look? You look nice. Really? That's the best you've got? Nice? This took 2 hours. This is ridiculous. I was going for breathtaking. I don't want to see you breathe when you see me. Things I put up with. So guys, I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to give you a little script for complimenting women, okay? And this will make it much easier. Just follow the script. This is the best compliment you can use, all right? The next time the woman that you're with asks you how she looks and you have an opportunity to compliment her, just look at her and go, you look perfect. It's the best one because women don't hear it very often. It actually slows them down for a minute. She'll be like, what did you just say? Hey, I don't like that. That is weird. Guys, show no fear. Stay with it. It's like, honey, you look perfect. To me, you are perfect. That's perfect. All right. But I am watching you. It doesn't work the other way around, by the way. A woman can't tell a man that he's perfect because he'll say, yeah, I know. I know. Guys have no internal self-negativity. Guys are internally self-delusional. A guy can put on 100 pounds. He'll still walk around his house in his underwear. Dang, honey, look at me. I am getting big. Look at that. I'm filling out. I like all this. Look at it. You will never see a woman doing that. You'll never see a woman in her underwear walking around her house. Hey, honey, look at the size of those thighs. Look at my butt. It is huge. Is that hail damage or what? Well, thanks very much, guys. Enjoyed it tonight.